Yeah, hi everyone. It's Billy here again from 47 Wolves, or it's just Billy. Hope you're well. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm just giving an update on my condition situation with the little C, and yeah, a few things, a few learnings I'm already receiving from that. So thanks again for your love and your care, and first and foremost, I've received so many messages, and I'm continue to get phone calls and messages of so much kindness and compassion. Yeah, it's just been amazing, and I think I've said this to multiple people. If love makes the world go round, and it does. If love contributes to healing, then I'm well on my way. So I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart, and Loretta as well, my wife. She's seen and heard the phone calls, and even the support that she's provided me, but who supports a supporter, and people have, her friends have called her as well. So yeah, thank you. It's just been amazing. So I get a little bit teary when it comes to that sort of stuff. I love humanity in times of yeah situations like this. So thank you. Okay, so at the moment, my situation is the surgery is booked in for the 10th of May. Um, and I don't want to get too negative here, but I'm just going to touch base on, and this is, I want to begin with the doctors and nurses and all the staff that I've dealt with at the hospital so far have just been incredible. They have so professional, so amazing. So as individuals, they are unbelievable. They've just got big hearts, and they just love what they do, and so I can't fault that at all. My issue, I guess, if I can say that, is just the system. Rightly or wrongly, this is just from my observations and my experiences so far. The system here in Queensland, Australia, is absolutely flawed, and I know we're not isolated. All around Australia, all around the world, there's systems that are flawed, and there's no perfect system in place for in the health domain. And yeah, but ultimately, I'll try to keep this short. But yeah, I went and seen the surgeon the previous Thursday, and yeah, ultimately they began by saying I need to get a CT scan, an MRI scan, and I'm not sure about you, but I would have thought that would have done the scans before I had a chance to speak to the surgeon. So what that resulted in is they had 2 weeks to get me getting the scan, so for me that's a bit of a delay, but that's fine. But yeah, what that created was the surgeon came in and gave me a whole bunch of scenarios and possibilities of what may or may not happen, and because he had nothing to go off, and so instead of being very concise and being able to look at the scans and say, okay, Billy, we're doing this, we're going to be needing this surgery, or this is what's happening. Yeah, ultimately he gave Loretta and I couldn't tell you, it would be at least a dozen different scenarios based on where the tumour is. If it's a little bit lower in the rectum area, there's a different type of operation and different risk, and yeah, all that sort of thing. So what it did for, as an observer, being the patient, was and I did say this to them, just you've given me all these options and possibilities when it probably wasn't necessary. And what that has done, it hasn't done it for me because I am who I am, but I do. If that's the system, then it's heavily flawed, because ultimately there's a lot of people out there. When we mention cancer, and I'll only say it once, it does instill a lot of fear naturally. We've all seen and know people that have gone through it, and it hasn't always ended well. Which so it has that paints that picture as soon as we hear that word, and quite naturally. So for me, I'm sort of going about it very much different, flipping the whole narrative on its head. But that's my journey, and that's how I'm choosing to go about it. But what I do get concerned about is the more fragile people who haven't probably done some of the inner work that I've done, or don't have that knowledge, and haven't empowered themselves, and it puts them into fear. It really puts them into a position of anxiety and stress, and it's unnecessary. They're going through enough as it is without being told all these possibilities. Yeah, so it was almost sort of the cart before the horse sort of thing. So It's probably something to be learnt from the health system that way. Like get all your ducks in a row. And I understand they're busy and they've got literally hundreds and thousands of patients. But yeah, anyway, but that I just wanted to not touch base on that. There's not much I can do about that. But yeah, just the flaw in the system and what emotional toll that has on the patients. So yeah, quite. Or potentially anyway. So anyway, the long and the short of it is I've had the MRI and the CT scan. Again, I'll reiterate what I've just said. That was a week and a half ago for the CT, and the MRI was last Tuesday, so that's over a week ago now. I haven't heard anything from anybody from the hospital. I rang this morning to my oncologist contact. They've got a specialist meeting tomorrow with the surgeon and the oncologist and all the other specialists to discuss my case and others. They do it every Thursday. Yes, admittedly, last Thursday was public holiday, so that probably caused the delay there. But ultimately, as a patient with the little c, I'm sitting here not knowing what's going on. And that compounded from the fact that they hadn't done the scans before I spoke to the surgeon. So I've got all these scenarios potentially going around in my head. And like I say, I'm pretty good. I'm dealing with that. I'm not trying not to preempt or get carried away with anything, but there would be a lot of people out there struggling if they're going through a similar situation. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is. And again, I'll say it again. I'm not having to go at the doctors and nurses. I know nurses. And all the staff that I've dealt with so far have just been brilliant. They're just wonderful, very compassionate people. So it's not a having a go or being negative on the staff and the people. It's just the system that's flawed. What that brings me to is, I guess, what I wanted to talk to you about today. Actually, I'll come back to that later. So just to continue, I've got some. I don't know if it's news because it's not official, but I want to share with you some amazing stuff that's happened to my body over the last week and a half, and longer, but yeah, very noticeable since last Monday. Last Monday, and I won't go into details here, and I do that for a reason because every situation will be different. Everyone's got their choices to make on what they do. What I have chosen to do, and I've been very, very kindly presented to me from lots of friends and family of various protocols that people have used all around the world in regards to the little c. Obviously, there's lots of different types and stages as well. But I am in a few groups of people who are literally have self-empowered themselves based and done the research and have actually, in many cases, cured themselves, which is so encouraging. And that's without surgery, that's without chemotherapy and radiotherapy. They've done it, and that's their first-hand experiences. And I've talked one-on-one with some of these people, and and the group's amazing because it really is encouraging you to see that people are going through that, and in some cases stage 4. It's amazing. So it is a possibility out there. Again, I'm not saying to dismiss the medical system and the Western society and follow that, look for advice and ask for it. But ultimately, self-empowerment is huge, and I'll go through that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But what I wanted to share was I've been taking a whole bunch of different protocols and alternative medicines, I guess. And what happened to me last Monday, I actually went to the toilet, and I think I've shared this before. My colon's pretty much was very close to being obstructed or blocked, and it's been very difficult for me to pass feces or poops over the last few months, particularly the last month or two. It's got increasingly difficult. Anyway, I had a little bit of a pain on Sunday, and then Monday it continued. Not acute pain, it was a bit more acute than what it had been. And I wasn't worried, but I did know it was an observation, and I noticed that intensity had picked up. Anyway, Monday I went to the toilet, thinking I've got to go to the toilet to do a number 2, and none of that came out. But what did come out was 3 what I can only describe as fragments of the tumour. Now, I was given a photo of the tumour in my colon from the colonoscopy, from the photos, so I know what one looks like. And these three, they're all about a centimetre, give or take, wide or in diameter, and they were floating in the toilet. Not going to gross you out here, but I've taken a photo just for my own records, and I was astounded. I absolutely couldn't speak for a few minutes. I was just staring down at the toilet, looking into the bowl, going, "Oh my goodness, what is that?" And people have asked me. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I haven't had it tested or anything else like that. But ultimately, it really is a replica or a little fragments of the tumour from what I can see, and other people I've showed the photos that agree with me. So that was very encouraging. Now, move forward to Thursday, and I'll be a bit back and forth here, but for Thursday I've actually passed another one, and then yesterday, being Tuesday, so that's a week and a bit after the first lot, passed another one yesterday. So it continues to happen. And so Wednesday I went in to get an iron infusion, and that's probably going to take a couple of weeks to take effect, but so that was part of it. But and I'll get a bit graphic here, and I do apologise in advance, so if you want to mute me for about 10 seconds, but I was at the hospital, and I was dying to go to the toilet on the way in, and as luck would have it, the cubicles were full, so I ended up going into the infusion. Anyone that's had one of those, it takes about 15 minutes with a bit of observation time, so maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. So by the time I got out of there, I was really ready to go. So I went to the toilet, and I did probably the biggest poop I've done in, probably 6 months. And not so much the length was good size, but it was the width. And what that, again, I was looking in the bowl going, oh wow. Because of what the surgeon from the colonoscopy had told me and how obstructed my colon is or was, that literally it could not pass through any wider than that. So my poops were lucky to be a centimetre wide, and this thing was probably 3 times the width. And since then I've been going regularly, and with the same width, and up until Monday afternoon I got a bit excited, and I love my food, as anyone that knows me will testify, and I actually got a bit carried away and probably had too much to eat, including a bit of chocolate, and by no means think I'm cured, but I just, after eating soups and liquids for the last little period of time, it was nice to have a nice casserole. It was a casserole, but it had meat in it, and it was yummy. But I went back for seconds and overate. But so I was a bit uncomfortable on Monday night. Up until then, from pretty much from the Wednesday to the Monday, I had actually, what I've been getting is surges and that surging feeling. So it's really been detrimental to my sleep. I've been up every hour or two to rush to the toilet, not always doing anything, but that feeling's always there. Now, anyone that knows what it's like to miss out on sleep, that's been my life, I guess, for the last 5 to 6 months, and increasingly in the last couple of months. So I occasionally get 3 hours or something without interruption, but new man, amazing to then, I don't need a lot of sleep, but to get 6 to 8 hours without interruption, and also during the day, and more importantly, not walking around constantly feeling like I've got to go to the toilet. I can't explain or describe how good that feels. It's just incredible. So anyway, I'm going to be continuing the protocols. I've got more stuff on the way that I've learnt as well. So I'm going down that path. It is it's everyone's individual choice of what they do in these situations, and I'm a great believer in sovereignty and individual sovereignty and freedom of choice. And I honour anyone that is going through anything similar, or it doesn't even have to be a little C, whatever ailments you've got. It's your body, your choice of what you go through. Yes, get educated. Yes, go to the doctors and the specialist. Find out what you need to do. follow them if you feel that's right, but make sure you listen to your heart, make sure you listen to your intuition, and your discernment is critical. I can't emphasize that enough. My discernment, I feel, is pretty good, and my internal, I've gone inside, and I really feel like I'm on the right path here. And then to physically be demonstrated that last Monday and then a couple of times since, for me, has been really encouraging. Um, and it's a funny, this has only just come to me, but anyone that knows the story about the 4 minute mile in running years ago, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but ultimately no one could run the mile in 4 minutes. But once one person did, and forgive me, I can't remember the guy's name, it was an Australian. Once he did that, I think it was multiple people ended up running 4 minutes, the mile under 4 minutes within the 12-month period. Because of that possibility, it opened their eyes and it opened their hearts to go, well, it can be done. So by joining these groups and by listening to people who have followed certain protocols that I'm following, and then doing that myself, was really encouraging to see firsthand from people that they can empower themselves and they don't have to follow the traditional way of getting back to health. And I'll be quite frank and honest here. I've seen what chemo does. I've seen what radiotherapy can do, and it serves its purpose, I guess. But for me, I've made a pretty strong decision that as much as possible, I don't want to go down that path. And so what else is out there? So being able to see and like I said before, I've had the real blessing. I feel like the universal God has got my back here. That I've had so many people reach out with different protocols. I've had to sift through them, educate myself, and I'm far from being. I'm not the most super smart person, but you learn and research, and if you've got the intent there, and definitely motivated to find out, you definitely pick things up. So that's been really encouraging. Like I said before, to see other people from all around the world being able to, even at stage 4, being able to cure themselves. Just so amazing, and I love humanity and the strength that people have, and how they've gone about it. So that has showed me that it is possible, that there's other ways and other alternatives. Now, I will say this again: it's not everyone's cup of tea, it's not everyone's choice. But what I will say is, even if you follow your surgeon and you follow your doctors and the oncologist, or if you've got other ailments, whatever the specialist is, if you follow them, that's fine, they're the experts, but make sure that you're using your intuition and you're using your discernment. So listen to them, but listen to them with your ears, but listen to them with your heart. Make sure that what they're saying makes sense to you. Ask questions, empower yourself, and you don't have to be angry or pushy, but make sure that you're first and foremost, and that they know that you're human, that you're a human being, that you're not just a number. It's definitely something I've felt in the hospital system in the last few weeks, that whilst the staff are fantastic, as I've said before, at the end of the day, they are busy and we are literally just a number in their system. Do we rely on other people to heal us and make us healthy again? Your choice. You can go to the doctor and grab a quick fix pill if that's what your choice is. I've never been that way. I would rather look in and do my own research, and occasionally I do take pills if that's what I feel is right, but ultimately I'll make that decision for myself. I wanted to talk today about self-empowerment. Whether you're going through an ailment or anything in life, it's really, really important that you empower yourself and take it upon yourself. Don't be lazy, don't procrastinate, don't get stuck, and don't feel like you can't do this. There's so much information out there on the internet, and you've got to use that discernment, because some of that information could lead you down paths that may or may not be right. So you really got to do your research and figure out what's best for you. But I'd really encourage you, and I can't emphasize this enough, to follow that path and to really get off your backside and make your health your priority. And what I'd probably encourage you to do as well is don't wait for something like my case where I didn't wasn't really kind to myself. I was overexerting myself. I was pushing myself too hard, and eventually my body told me through this that hang on, this can't work. This is not sustainable. And that's where dis-ease comes into the forefront. And our bodies are incredible, but we have to be willing to listen to our body. So I invite you all to look at yourself and feel into yourself every day. And there's a whole bunch of ways of doing that, but just really feel what you're doing and have a look at yourself holistically. So look at what you're doing physically. You know, what's your diet like? What's your exercise like? What are you physically doing to make sure you maintain your health? And then you've got your emotional side. How are you feeling? What's going on in your life? Are you under stress or pressure, and how are you dealing with that? Are you suppressing it? Are you bringing it up? How are you communicating that those difficulties and challenges, which we all get at times, which leads to your mental health as well, because they're all tied in. And then your holistically, you know, and some people might not resonate with this, but your spiritual health. So, you know, what are you doing to connect? You know, connect to others, connect to yourself, go within, connect to God or the universe or the higher spirit, whatever you want to call our Creator. It's not a religious video by any stretch, but whatever your beliefs are, tap into that, and you'll find a lot more answers will come, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And while I'm on that subject, I've had some amazing experiences recently. I'm in a group that I go as many Sundays as I can, and we take sacred medicine, and we sit out with nature. We're in the waterfall, and we go for a swim, but we share each other's stories, and we have a shared circle. And before we start, we actually do a prayer. So it's like and everyone does it different depending on their backgrounds and connotations there. You know, some people might use bringing Jesus, but also more importantly, you're showing gratitude as well, and you're praying basically for your family and whatever you feel is important. And what they did for me 2 weeks ago was, in that shared circle, they brought me into the middle, and there was about a dozen of us, and they all touched me while Danilo verbally prayed for me, and the power of that was amazing. Even on the day, I felt myself healing. And you know, some people might scoff at that. Some people might go, well, that's a placebo thing. You're thinking it, so it's happening. Well, who cares? I don't really give a rat's. I honour it. I believe in it. I feel like it's my truth, and I love what they so generously did for me, and the power of that. So that, amongst all the other people that have kindly sent me wishes and text and made the effort to call me, it's just been beautiful. And like I said before, the love that I've been receiving is just been so powerful, and I'm very appreciative and in deepest gratitude for that. And that's been my whole mindset right from the word go. When the surgeon told me I had the little C, I went, right, how am I going to deal with this? I didn't go into panic, not for 1 second, and I can't explain why. I was only saying to someone the other day, I've always been in sport and at work, generally been known as a fairly calm person, and that always hasn't been the case. Like, I'm like this duck underwater, furiously going hell for leather, but above the surface I maintain that mask and that calmness for myself to stay in the situation, but also to help others around me. But at the end of the day, energetically, what was that doing to me? But I can honestly say now, I'm calm under the water and above, and I have that calmness through all the work that I've done, and since I've the announcement of the little C, I've for whatever reason I've felt really assured that everything's going to be okay, and what can I learn from this, and then what can I share. So there's much more of this journey to follow, and a lot more to come, and I've got some more phone calls and whatnot to take today and tomorrow from the hospitals. My plan is to get another MRI scan, I think it will be, to get confirmation that the tumour hopefully has decreased. and I'm not proclaiming anything, I'm not declaring anything, I don't know. I can only go off what I'm feeling. But ultimately, if I don't need surgery, if I don't need to be cut open, then I'm going to not avoid it. But why, if it's unnecessary, then I'll certainly go down that path. And like I said before, I'm only really encouraged about it. Coming back to the 4-minute mile part, is that I've seen other people do this firsthand, and that is so beautiful to watch and observe and to hear their stories, and it's so inspiring for them to have that to have the courage and to follow their path to get to where they're going. And as I said, everyone's got their choice. If you follow your path, and but again, I'll just finish here by just saying self-empowerment, people. Self-empowerment, it is so important in every walk of your life. That doesn't mean you be dismissive. That doesn't mean you can't ask for help. And I'll come back a little bit to the prayer. If you're religious or you're not, if you want to pray, or if you want to give your, ask for help, whether that's another person or a family member or God or Jesus, whatever it is, that is beautiful. I love that. That's that divine connection. But make sure that you take it upon yourself and make the steps. Don't just sit back and wait for another person or God to do everything for you. He or she wants you to take things into your own hands. We are co-creators. We are super, super powerful. And I encourage you to take your own health and every facet of your life into your own hands. And that's with love and with heart, and not detrimental to anyone else. You do your thing. You do what's important to you and what means something to you, and do it with everything that you've got. I just cannot emphasize that enough. So I'm going to finish that with that here. I get really passionate about this sort of stuff, but love yous. I thank you again. I have deepest gratitude for everything that I'm getting from you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll keep you updated as much as I can. Thank you. Love you, and God bless you.